Hello students, welcome back once again to yet another session of biology that is on the fundamental unit of life. Now today we'll discuss about diffusion and osmosis. People tend to get confused a lot between these two terms. So today we'll clarify that doubt of ours, okay, or yours, right? So how do cells exchange substances? Now, for example, at your home, if somebody is delivering a parcel to you, so you just go out, you open the door and you take the parcel. But if some unwanted person is there and they are asking you to open the door, you don't do that, right? Even your parents will tell you don't open the door without looking at who is outside. Do you want them in your house or do you not? Right? So cells also constantly need a lot of substances to be exchanged. Okay. You also bring a lot of different raw materials so that you can prepare your own food. Similarly, cells also need to exchange oxygen for respiration. They need to, take out carbon dioxide from the system. They need water for different kind of chemical reaction and nutrients just to, build up their energy for different kind of function. So for that process, how will it occur? What kind of, because for example, we can walk on our two legs and enter anywhere, right? And the other person will open the door or maybe not. But here, how the substances will walk, how they will go inside or outside. So for that, there are two processes, that is diffusion and osmosis. Now, what is diffusion? So diffusion is actually the movement of particles from a higher concentration area to a lower concentration area. Okay. Let me just again draw this in a better way, maybe. Okay. Right. Okay. So imagine here there are lots and lots of particles here. So what happens? It will be very crowded, right? So these particles will start moving to a place where the concentration is low. Okay, and once the equal concentration has been achieved, both the rooms or both the sides or both the spaces, then it will stop diffusing. Okay, maybe like this, right? So what exactly diffusion is? It is the movement of particles from region of higher concentration to region of lower concentration until equilibrium, that means equal amount on the both sides, okay, has been achieved. Now, this is a passive process. You don't need energy for it. For example, imagine a room. You went to a party, okay, and you went to somebody's house and everybody is sitting in one room and more people are entering that room. After a certain point, you will see that everybody will start going into different room, right? Because it is so much crowded, right? So those particles or those humans or those people, right, they will move to different rooms until everybody is there in, their own room and like they are settled. Obviously, if they are having fun in one room, then nobody will leave that room, right? But imagine they are going to sleep now. So everybody will go to different rooms and have their beds and sleep there on that, right? So similarly, particles also want stability and they do not like overcrowded places or areas, okay? So they'll gradually move towards a lower concentrated area. Lower concentrated area means less particles, where the less particle numbers are there. Okay, it happens passively. That means you don't have to push or give energy to these particles. They'll simply move because it is overcrowded. Okay, happens naturally due to random molecular motion. Also, molecules tend to move in different directions, right? So because of that also, they will gradually push each other and gradually they will move to here. Okay, continuous until particles are evenly distributed. Like I told you again, once the even distribution has been achieved or equilibrium has been achieved, diffusion stops. Okay, example here would be oxygen entering cells for respiration, carbon dioxide leaving cells as waste, carbon dioxide moving outside, oxygen moving in, nutrients moving across the cell membrane. So wherever the oxygen will be more, it will move from more to less. For example, blood has brought a lot of oxygen and cell has used already oxygen, right? And carbon dioxide has been released. So carbon dioxide will move outside the cell into the blood cells, and blood will bring the oxygen inside because they were having higher concentration of oxygen. So that's how it actually works, okay? Diffusion. So diffusion is the driving force, basically concentration. Here the driving force would be concentration difference. Okay. Not a pressure, not anything else, but concentration difference. That means wherever there will be more number of particles, they will start moving towards the less number of particles. Okay, like that. Energy needed, there is no need of energy for diffusion. Direction always from higher to lower concentration, and medium could be anything. It can happen in a gas or gaseous state, or like liquids or solids. Okay, but gases tend to diffuse faster than anything else. Okay, now this diffusion in cell, like I told you, oxygen will be taken in and carbon dioxide will be released out. This I have already told. One thing which we need to notice here, the concentration gradient, okay, and temperature and surface area. So let's talk about temperature first. So what happens, the more temperature you will provide to the particles, the kinetic energy will increase. Now, if you know the kinetic energy means if anything is moving, it has energy. If you're providing it with more temperature, it will start, vibrating left and right, like this, more up and down, okay, like this. So once that starts happening, it will move faster, the particle will move faster. Now, more surface area will be there, more diffusion will occur. Okay, and if the concentration gradient, that means the difference is more, like here 100 particles are there, okay, and here only 2 particles are there in this area. So the diffusion will be faster. But if 50 particles are here, so maybe diffusion will be a little bit slower. So diffusion depends on the concentration gradient. It depends on the temperature, more diffusion. More surface area, more diffusion. More concentration gradient, more diffusion. Okay, so that's how it is. Now, osmosis. Osmosis is a type of diffusion, but here we talk about only water molecules. That means the osmosis is the movement of water molecules only, not any molecule, water molecules specifically, from higher concentration to a lower concentration region. Okay, now a special type of diffusion it is, and nothing else, where water molecules are being involved. So water molecule is always being transported in our body from different parts to different areas. Okay, so that's why, and water is making almost a lot of part of our body. That's why there is another term for it, that is osmosis. So we do not get confused between other ions or particles and water. Okay, always require a semi-permeable membrane. That means it allows water but will block other solute or ion or anything else. It also does not require any energy, and it is driven by the difference between the solid concentration. So for example, let's take, okay, here the solute is more. I hope you know now solute, okay, because I have taught you in, our chemistry chapters. If not, if you are not sure about it, go back and, read the first, second chapter, third chapter, right? Not third, first, second chapter, and then you will understand this more. Okay, if here the solute is more and here solute is less and here solvent is water and water is more, here water is less. So water will start moving from here to here. That is what it is meant by that. Solute can be, for example, okay, I'll give you an example. Here solute is salt, both places. But here salt is more, water is less in case A. Okay. And in case B, water is more, salt is less. So water will move from B, you can say beaker, to beaker A. Okay. That is what I meant. Now, types of solutions in osmosis, that is hypertonic, hypotonic, and isotonic. So, hypotonic solution is which has more water and less solute. Okay. And in this case, water enters the cell and causes it to swell. Okay. For example, let's say here, the solution outside the cell is having more water. So, let me just draw it for you. It has more water, imagine, okay? And solute is less, only this much solute. But here the solute is more, okay? And water is only this much, very less. So water will start moving inside and make this cell actually swell up like this. It will swell into something this big, maybe. Okay, and this is hypotonic solution. Hypo means less. Tonic means you can imagine the solute, okay? So here, the solute will be less outside and water will be, okay? Now, so students usually get confused in this, so please ask questions. If you have any doubt, please ask questions related to this topic, okay? Because they usually get confused in these two. Okay, coming to hyper, more tonic means, that means more solute, okay? So what happens? Solution outside the cell will be having less water, okay, and more solute. So here, let's say, let me make solute, okay. So water will be less, let's say only this much water, and inside more water, okay, and solute will be more here. And here the solute will be less. So water will move from inside cell to outside cell. And this will cause the cell to shrink, right? Plasmolysis in plants. That is what we call plasmolysis in plants. Now, these things actually help us to make pickles and all. We will discuss how that is useful, okay? And isotonic solution. So, equal water and solute concentration inside and outside the cell. That means water content here is also same, and here it is also same outside as well. Okay, and the solute content is almost same. Okay, right. Okay, so diffusion versus osmosis. So now you can differentiate between them. So the type of movement in diffusion, general movement of any particle, but here only water particle movement is same. Membrane required. So diffusion can require, can occur without a membrane, with a membrane or without a membrane. Osmosis specifically needs a semi-permeable membrane. Energy for both the processes, there is no need of any sort of energy. And examples, diffusion, oxygen exchange in lungs, with the help of actually diffusion. And lastly, osmosis, water absorption by roots and rehydration of dried fruits. Okay, so the scent actually, which you put, so how the spread, it spreads, okay? How does it spread basically? What happens? Because of diffusion, once you have sprayed the scent here, or the perfume, after a certain point, the molecules of that sprayed perfume starts diffusing or starts moving from higher concentration to lower concentration area until it's equally distributed in that area, and that's how everybody gets the fruity smell of the scent. Okay, if we talk about osmosis, you might have seen your parents keeping these dried nuts in the water. So after a certain, or raisins in water, after a certain point, or maybe, if you're doing it at night, in morning, you will see it is all swelled up because it was dried. So there was no water content inside the cells of these, nuts. Water content was less. Here, water content was more because you kept it in water, right? So it will take some water in and it will swell up. Okay. So that's how osmosis and diffusion you can see in real life. Okay, so these are few simple experiments which you can do. Raisins in water and potato cup experiment. Raisins I already told you, right? So you can just go through this. The second experiment, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, you have to take a pause and just because again it will be a lot of time if I start explaining this. It will become a 1 hour class. So maybe we'll do it in our 1 hour class. Okay, so we talked about diffusion, we talked about osmosis here, and we saw how in real life actually these things are can be seen mostly. Okay, and they both do not need any kind of energy. Both is the both processes has nothing but movement of particles from higher concentration to lower, but osmosis specifically talks about water. Now you can answer these questions. So first is define diffusion and explain what drives this process. What kind of energy, or what kind of, not exactly energy, what gradient you can say. Okay, name 2 examples of osmosis in daily life and explain how they demonstrate the process. So this you can think about and tell. And how are diffusion and osmosis similar and how they are different. So I hope from till now you have understood everything, and maybe you are able to answer a lot of things. Okay, now you are getting how these questions can be solved easily. And if you have any doubt, you can go back to video as well. Okay, so thank you so much for joining the session. You can contact me through my Urban Group profile if you have any doubt. and feel. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.